Hey everybody, Rainbow Strike here, and it's that time of year again! You all know this by now, we're going to be ranking every single animated movie that I've seen in 2024, including the live action movies. But just like what we did last year, I'm only going to give a brief summary of what I think about the live action ones, because we're mostly going to focus primarily on the animated films. But with that out of the way, let's get started. So, what's the worst movie of 2023? Actually, it's not that bad. It's Equalizer 3. Before you ask, no, I have not seen the previous movies, and I did not choose to go see this movie. Someone asked me to go with them to see it. So what did I think? It actually wasn't that bad. Sure, it was stupid and had a lot of unnecessary violence, but that's like the point of these films, so I'm not going to be too harsh on that. So yeah, even though it is at the bottom of this list, I still quite like it. I made sure this year to avoid all the bad looking movies. So yeah, even though it's the worst of the year, I still think it's pretty good. Next up is Spy Kids Armageddon, a reboot to the franchise, which also could still take place in the original universe. How?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's a pretty alright movie. What this movie does is actually combine the first three Spy Kids movies, which kind of sounds cool on paper, but in execution, not so much. It basically just feels like a downgraded Spy Kids speedrun, if anything. Even though I don't find the movie to be that good, I still kinda like it because of my bias towards the Spy Kids franchise. I grew up watching and loving the original film, so I still kinda like it mostly because of nostalgia. So yeah, it's not that great, but I still had a little fun with it. Next is House Party, which is both pretty funny and also pretty annoying. There's not much to say about this movie. It's just about two dudes coming together to throw a big house party and chaos ensues. And like I said, it does have some funny moments, but it also has a lot of annoying moments. It's still kind of fun to watch, and the LeBron James cameos are pretty cool, I guess. That's all I really have to say about it. Next up is Netflix's The Monkey King. And my gosh, did this movie disappoint. Because the trailers made it look so cool and so fun, and oh my gosh, the villain. Oh my goodness, the villain. But yeah, it's not that good. The main character is just a jerk throughout the entire film and doesn't feel like he learns anything by the end of it. He just goes back to being his jerk self. Almost every character feels like this, except, funny enough, the main villain. He literally kills someone on screen and is still the most likable person in the movie. I get that making him a jerk at the beginning of the film was the point, but at least still make him entertaining to watch. Like Lightning McQueen, he was a jerk in the beginning, but he still was fun to watch. The Monkey King doesn't even feel like he learns anything by the end of the film anyway, so it's all pointless. So the only good thing about this movie is literally the villain. He's such a fun and funny character and has a really good design, like oh my gosh, he is hot. He also has such a banger villain song, like oh my goodness.
And nobody will deny my power when I take the world by storm.
So yeah, even though the movie has really good animation and a really good villain, it's still overall not that good of a movie. Next is Shazam 2, and it's pretty dumb. Which is a huge shame because I really liked the first one and they just kind of dropped the ball with this one. The villains are poorly written and Billy Batson is just a huge idiot in this film. Like, Billy does some stuff that results in the deaths of a lot of innocent civilians. Like, a lot. Like, Billy, you're supposed to be the superhero here. Other than some really cool fight scenes and the Wonder Woman cameo at the end, this movie really sucks. Next is the Bad Guys Holiday Special, and my gosh, did I really want this to be good. I don't want to be too harsh on it, considering it is just a holiday special, but DreamWorks has put more effort and money into their other specials. I don't know why they didn't put more effort into this. Like, my gosh, look at the animation in this. But since I am a really big Bad Guys fan, I still honestly kind of enjoyed it. They even got some really good replacements for the main characters, like Mr. Wolf still sounds like how he does in the movie. I honestly just love these characters so much, and the special was still really cute. Next up is The Meg 2, and my gosh, was this movie really dumb, but it was also kind of fun. To be honest, I don't have that much else to say about the movie, other than the movie focusing a little bit more on the human villains rather than the sharks, because apparently this movie needs human villains. It can't just have a giant shark. So yeah, the focus on the human villains was legitimately bad. But yeah, the movie sucks, but man, the giant sharks are just really cool. Next is No One Will Save You. Again, I don't have too much to say about this film other than that it was really creepy and really interesting. And it has little to no dialogue, which is kind of cool. Lots of questions, lots of mystery, lots of scares, and a really crazy ending. It's a good sci-fi / horror movie. Next is Dashing Through the Snow, and man, did I wish this movie was actually good. Not that it was that bad, it actually had a really good beginning and a really fun ending, but my gosh, the middle chunk is just so boring. Santa was really fun in this movie, and the ending is really fun as well, but that's about it. Next is Under the Boardwalk, a movie probably no one even knows about. And I say that because Paramount literally released a trailer for this movie 2 days before its premiere, and then it only premiered for like a few days, then got taken out of theaters. Like, what the heck? The movie is not even bad. I don't know why Paramount is trying so hard to hide this film, because I don't see anything that wrong with it. But even though the movie is not bad, it's not that amazing either. It's just a standard cliche animated movie. It is kind of cute though. It's a cute little romance story with some fun songs and pretty good animation. It's overall just okay. Next up is Leo, and a pretty good surprise from Netflix. A lot of people are now talking about this film and talking about how really good it is, and while I do like it, I don't know if it's that amazing. Like, people are saying it's one of the best animated movies of the year and that it's better than Wish, and it's like, guys, calm down. Like, it is good, but it's not like one of the best. But ignoring everyone else, I do still think it is a really good movie. I really like the main character Leo. He's cute, he's fun, he's wholesome, and really funny at times. I really like that not only is Leo helping out the kids and giving them advice, but the kids are also helping him out as well. It's a very wholesome story. What does kind of bog the movie down just a little bit is that it's an Adam Sandler movie, and usually Adam Sandler movies have really bad humor. Like, the movie does have good jokes, but then a lot of bad ones as well. It's basically like his other movie Click, a really good story, but a lot of bad jokes. Other than that, the movie is still really good. Up next is About My Father, which is a pretty good comedy. There's nothing too crazy about this film, it's just like two families meeting together and chaos ensuing. It's a pretty wholesome story with a lot of good jokes. Next is Diary of a Wimpy Kid Christmas, Cabin Fever, and it's honestly pretty dang good. And honestly, my favorite of the animated Wimpy Kid movies. While not as good as the live-action Wimpy Kid movies, it still is good on its own. Much like the previous animated Wimpy Kid movie, this movie does do some changes to the book, but they're good changes. The changes make the story a little bit better in my opinion. And I don't know, this could just be me, but it seems like with every new animated Wimpy Kid movie, the animation gets a little bit better because it's not that bad here. This is honestly a really sweet and fun Christmas special that I really enjoyed. Next is Dumb Money, and my gosh, did this movie really surprise me. I never thought I would be interested or invested in a movie like this, but oh my gosh, they did a really good job. Like, I did not care for any of this stock stuff, but the movie made it so interesting and honestly exciting to watch. So yeah, props on the movie for making me care about this subject. It definitely was a nice surprise. Next up is Barbie, and my goodness, was I stressed the f*** out while watching this. Don't worry, it has nothing to do with the movie. In fact, I quite enjoyed the movie a bit. But I really wasn't in the right headspace while watching it. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this review when all I remember is internal screaming. I won't go into too much detail because that's a story for another day. But let's just say that the story involves my California trip, Disneyland, and Nick Wilde. More specifically, the possible lack of Nick Wilde. So I hope that explains and helps you understand why I was so scared and terrified while watching Barbie, because I literally saw this movie the day before I went to Disney. But it's okay, don't worry, the story did have a happy ending. How is Judy more of an ally than my own friends? Okay, back to the review. I am sorry. From what I remembered, I really did love and appreciate that a lot of the sets are actually practical and real. It all looks so good. And most of the acting was really good too. Margot Robbie really put her all in this. And I'm Just Ken, a really good song. Way better than Peaches. Fight me.
I'm just Ken and I'm enough. And I'm great at doing stuff.
It was both a fun and crazy ride that I enjoyed, even though I was stressing the f*** out while watching it. Next up is The Little Mermaid remake, which is pretty good and also pretty bad. The Disney remakes are a hit or miss for me, but this one was kind of just mediocre, I guess. Halle Bailey as Ariel is definitely the best part of the movie and has such a beautiful voice. And Awkwafina as Scuttle, I know a lot of people did not like her in this movie, but I actually thought she was kind of fun. And yes, I know the song that she has in the movie is really bad, but when I imagine Sisu singing it, it's actually kind of cute and funny.
The who said what, who does that, yeah, the scuttlebutt.
I'm biased, leave me alone. Also, Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, kind of awkward, not gonna lie. She's great in other movies, I just don't think she's that great here. While overall it does have some good things in it, it's mostly not that great of a movie. Next is Retribution, and it's basically just Taken, but in a car. While it's pretty stupid at some times, it's also pretty cool and intense. Next is Hypnotic, which is pretty wacky. Think of it as Spy Kids meets Inception. Yes, it sounds kind of dumb and sometimes is kind of dumb, but it's also really fun and exciting. Next is Theater Camp, which is a really fun story, but my gosh, did this movie make me feel sick. Like, the way the movie was shot just makes me feel so uneasy, and imagine watching that on a giant theater screen. It's hard to watch. Really good story, but my gosh, did this movie almost make me throw up.